My name's Joey Hoover, owner of Hoover Delivery Services and Level Up Fitness, and also 4 years clean off heroin.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
These times are hard, never picture what you saw, never make yourself to be what you can't be.
I was first introduced to drugs around high school, pretty much the same as every kid. Didn't per se that was a problem in high school. I was introduced to your regular marijuana, beer, parties, everything like that. But nothing really was a problem at that age. I was an athlete through high school, so never had any drug issues through high school. It was much after high school when I started selling pain pills and making a lot of money off it before I actually turned to start using them. I wouldn't say there's a single person singly responsible for it, but at the time I was dealing with an ex-girlfriend at the time who was dealing with a lot of their own battles and stuff that I took on my own shoulders willingly, and ended up leading me down a bad road as well. Rock bottom looked like to me taking my daughter down Kensington every morning, down D in Clearfield, D in Cambria to pick up dope. Not something I'm proud of, but something I openly talk about today. Me overdosing about 5 times in 1 month, to the last time being home alone and overdosing. And thank God my sister had walked in right after I overdosed and found me blue. She was also with my daughter, who was 4 at the time.
I was down the shore, and his sister was here with him. And I don't know if she came out of the shower, she woke up, or what, but she found Joey gray and agonal, and he wasn't breathing. I remember her calling, and she was in nursing school, saying, what do I do, what do I do? Joey's not breathing. And I said, I'm at the top of the street. I was like coming down Walsh Road, coming back from the shore. And I said, hang up, call 911 and start CPR. And when I walked in, Alyssa was doing CPR to Joey. And what seemed like forever probably wasn't, but he finally started breathing. And then the ambulance came.
And she gave me CPR, so the cops came, ambulance came, they Narcaned me back, and that was the last time I picked up a drug. After that, my mom told me she was done with my shit. I've been to rehab 10 to 12 times by now. She was pretty much sick of my shit. She told me I was out in the street, and she didn't care what I did.
I think everybody here was numb. We didn't know what to do. Kind of, maybe like a few hours went by. I don't know where it came from, but it was after it was probably, we lost Joey probably for 2 to 3 years, but what seemed like a lifetime of losing somebody. We were up front, me and Joey, and told him he had to leave. I said he could no longer be in this house. That his choices weren't going to be everybody else's choices, and that we weren't going to find him dead. And if we had to say goodbye to him, we were going to say goodbye to him here. That we weren't going to come looking for him in Kensington, and we weren't going to identify him. We were just going to part here, and that he was never going to be able to be back in this house again, and that I would never give him his daughter again. With that, he left.
I ended up going to a meeting that day, and an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in the area, and they hooked me up with rehab, which I went to rehab and really only lasted 6 days there because I was feeling all the pain from everything I just went through, and I no longer had drugs to turn to. So I got kicked out of there for raging out, acting out, all types of behaviors that I was basically acting out because I no longer had the drugs in me.
That night or the next morning, he called and he said that he wanted to go back into rehab and he wanted to be a positive role in his daughter's life. I told him he could never come back to this house again, no matter what. He did. He went to Marymount from that point. Did 10 days detox. Left and went into a sober house, and Joey's never been home since.
Last day I was at the rehab, some halfway programs came there, and they basically said that we'll take you. I didn't need no money because I didn't have nothing. They took me in there, built up a back balance there, and they let me stay there for about 3-4 weeks before I got a job and was able to start paying rent. I ended up staying in that halfway house for about 9 to 12 months. That halfway house did pretty much everything for my recovery. I remember coming home to that house. A lot of them guys that I got sober with, I'm still best friends today. There was times when I wanted to get high more than anything in my life, and them guys just sat with me. And we had a common bond, you know. We all came from the same shit, the same stuff, and we just made a way for each other. Basically, my biggest thing to stay sober was to realize that how much I was affecting my daughter and my family when getting high. It took me a long time to notice how much I was affecting them. The whole time I was using, I always thought it was poor me. I was born a drug addict. I was going to die a drug addict. I felt like I had it the worst, but here, my mom would be home every day worried about me. She had no say in the matter. If she opened up her door and let me in, she was helping me out and helped me get high. If she put me out, she didn't know what to do, didn't know where I was. I remember when I was able to make amends to my mom, she said, when you were out there getting high, I never slept. She said, when you finally went to rehab, I at least had some sanity that I knew where you were at night. And by that time when I made the amends to her, she said, the one thing you've done for me is I don't stress over you anymore. And she just said, can you do that forever?
Joey turning his life around, Joey probably could answer this better, but I really feel as though it was him not coming home. He wasn't allowed to come back in this house at all. He had to make it. I made sure like he had everything he needed in a sober house, but he wasn't coming home. And what he learned in that sober house were like basics. It was, you have to show up. There's curfew. There's rules. There's things you have to do if you want more freedom. I mean, he went and he did every step along the way and then became a manager of the house. And I feel like him achieving those little goals kind of gave him what he needed along the way to understand this is how it works. I also think Joey reaching back often, and in the few short years, almost 4 that he's been sober, Joey's been burned multiple times by people that he keeps reaching back for, but he keeps reaching back. So I think giving back is like fresh in your mind. It helps you realize, wow, this could have been me. I could not be where I am right now if I didn't get myself together. I think the relationship he has with his daughter is better than it's ever been. There were periods of time he never saw her. So I think that is monstrous, however you say that.
For me to remain sober was to learn how I was affecting others, to remain how much I wasn't a father at the time I was getting high. I promised myself and my daughter when I got high, when I got sober, that I was no longer going to turn back to that stuff. Today I'm present with everything. I'm so involved in her life. It's amazing. I'm so busy with 2 businesses, but I'm still able to be in her life every day. And whether it's making like TikTok rap videos or her gymnastics or her cheerleading, she's able to talk to me about anything. I'm so present. I've never been this present in her life. I talk to her on an everyday basis. And that's the biggest thing that keeps me sober. The biggest thing the program teaches you is like staying clean, is basically by helping another person. And my mom has always been big on helping people. We've taken people in since I was 10 years old. We've always had roommates that we took in, people that she was helping out. And it just made me feel a lot better myself when I was able to help someone. Because like for the longest time, I was taken from everyone. And once I started practicing that regularly, started to feel a lot better. And anytime I had a real life issues, they say to like kind of turn your attention, help someone else. And it's crazy what it does for someone. I turned to the gym maybe about 7-8 months clean. At that point, I was told we have addiction. Someone with addiction just has addictions with a lot of stuff, and you got to find positive things to take it out on. And I started working out, and honestly, it was like therapy. I went 7 days a week, sometimes there for like 2 hours. Sometimes I would go to the gym for 2 hours. I didn't want to talk to many people about what I was hurting, what I was going through at the time. So I would just go and take it and work out real hard. And by the time I left that gym that day, I always felt better. So yeah, I started 2 businesses. At first, I've been working in furniture my whole life. When I first got clean, I went to my old boss, and he was cool enough to take me back. And I was working for him about the first 2.5 years in recovery. Actually, probably the first 3.5. And it got to the point where I was basically running his business for him while he sat back and drove every day. And just this past Christmas, he turned to me and he said, come January 1st, I'm gonna have to give you a pay cut. And he was talking about like $200 pay cut a week. In my eyes, I deserved a raise. And I was always staying through all the bull crap because I felt like he gave me a chance when I needed it most. But it got to the point where all my loved ones and everyone's like, yo, enough's enough. You don't owe him anything. So I put in my 2 weeks with him, not knowing what I was gonna do. And I put in my 2 weeks with him and quit and started my own delivery company. And just in the past 4 months, I mean, I've been extremely busy, extremely profitable, making way more than I was ever making with him. And just feeling a lot better about doing it. Forever, I was living his dream. Now I'm able to use this furniture delivery service to power my dream of owning a gym one day. I have another business of personal training, which I'd like to buy a gym one day and own it, a training studio. But the biggest thing with that is I get to take people in, and some of my best friends, my best friend Joe that I'm training today, he got sober, and he tried everything. He tried AA, NA, he was trying everything. And I basically told him that he was gonna come live with me and go to the gym and go to work every day. And he basically was stuck with my hip going to work, going to the gym. And that's when I learned that I like training. I seen him like start to grow confidence, start to believe in himself. Some people come in the gym and they're just have no self-worth at all. They're so beat down, they think they're overweight, or some guys think they're not strong enough, they're too little. Girls think they're too big, guys think they're too big. And they got to the point where they're so lazy and have built these habits for so long, they don't care about themselves at all. And you get them in the gym for about a month or 2 months, and you just start to see them turn so much. And it's the best feeling in the world. It's worth way more than the money. Of course, I need the money to pay my bills, but I do sessions for $20 an hour where I could be doing deliveries and stuff and make a little bit more money. But the satisfaction I get in helping someone and seeing them literally like grow, like I see them start feeling themselves like 2 weeks later, and they come in walking in with a smile. They start showing up with tank tops, and you can just see they're more motivated towards life. They're sharper, they're more efficient. It just does so much for a person, and to be able to help do that for someone is a really good feeling.
This is it. 3, go.
Tremendously proud of Joey. I tell Joey all the time. I use Joey as an example to so many people that I meet along the way at work. I tell these kids that come into work that they'll be like, I can't get into rehab. Multiple times I've called Joey and said, is there something you can do? Is there somewhere you know? Is there somebody they can go talk to? So being proud of Joey, it's just obvious. You can just, as soon as somebody says I'm like showing his Instagram pictures, I'm showing how well he looks, how healthy he looks. I mean, absolutely.
But they all stood by me. Every time I had an issue, my brother came bailed me out, my mom bailed me out. I couldn't tell you how much times my grandma, mom or brother literally bailed me out of jail, paid off a dealer, paid off a car accident, hid me from the cops, all types of stuff that they were always there for. And they just didn't give up on me. And they all know how important they are and how thankful I am.